Hey guys, how's it going? This is Jacqueline. Thank you for joining me this Saturday for another skirt tutorial. This skirt is the waist two panel tie skirt, like this one right here, and that one, and this one, and a few more. I love this style of skirts. So today I'm going to be using a queen size flat sheet that I thrifted. It was in really good condition. Now I'm just folding it in half to see if it will be long enough or will I have to cut more off to make it shorter. And what do you know? It is perfect. Look at that. It's perfect. All right. So now what I want to do is I already took off that top band of the flat sheet. We're going to use that for our waistband. I'm going to measure it just left to right because we need it to go across the entire front. And then we're going to fold it in half and make two. And that is our completed waistband. And the back fits as well. That is step one, guys, to make a waistband. Right now step two, we're going to fold it in half and we're going to pin it in place. We're going to pin the end where the bottom seam will be. Because this is a bed sheet, it is already hemmed. So guess what, guys? You do not have to make a hem today. I guess unless you're short. I'm 5'6", and so I guess I'm kind of tall. I don't know. Okay, so I pinned the end in place because what I'm going to do next is I'm going to just run my scissors down the opposite end to cut it into two separate pieces. This is cotton, so you could just cut it and then rip it because that's how cotton is woven, where it'll just rip in a straight single line. You don't have to worry about it, veering off course. But I'm just going to run my scissors through and we're going to have two separate pieces to make the two panel skirt. Okay, now I'm going to take those pins out and separate the two pieces so you can see them. If you wanted to get fabric from the store, this will work well with 4 yards or even 2 yards. You can make two 1-yard panels or two 2-yard panels, and it could be much more fluffy if you want. So look at that, it's perfect. We're going to be using the cut end to make a gathering stitch. So that is step 2. Now step 3, we're going to just do our gathers. Now you need to make your stitch length the longest your machine will go. Mine's goes to 4, and that way it's going to make the thread like thinner. Not thinner, just not tight. So that way the fabric can slide along the thread. It'll make sense in a second. Okay, so I'm going to use my presser foot as my measuring. I'm going to put the presser foot at the very edge of the fabric, just like that, and I'm going to just go down the fabric. And that's it. And we're going to do 2 of those. Okay, now, most important, do not lock your stitch. When you start sewing, do not hit the back button. Just go straight down. You need it to have a long tail, so when I pull it out, I'm going to make sure I have a little length because you're going to need that for the gathers. So pull a decent amount out before you cut it. All right, that may be a little bit too much. Okay, and now we're going to put it back under the machine, and now I'm going to use that line I just stitched as my marker. And then I'm going to sew a line directly beside that line. And that is it. All the way down. And just try to stay as close as you can. It doesn't have to be perfectly exact. Just make sure it's not too wavy. Okay. See, look at that. Perfect. 2 little lines. And you see it's not closed in and it has the long tails on it. Okay, so now we're going to do the other one, or we're going to finish that one first, and then we're going to do the other one. Okay, now how we make our gathers. Okay, we need to separate the top thread from the back thread. So you put your scissors in there or whatever, and you're going to separate the front just like that, and you're going to grab those and move them apart. because this is how we're going to make the gathers. So in one hand, I have the front threads, and then in the other hand, I have the back threads. You see how separate? Now we need to tie a knot on one of those. You can choose either front or back. Just make sure you do that on the other end as well. We're going to tie a knot right here to secure this. Try to get as close as possible to the fabric. It doesn't have to be exact, but just try to get as close as possible, and it will keep it from unraveling. Now you're going to grab the front threads, or whatever, the back, if that's what you chose, and we're going to just hold the thread, and we're going to scoot the fabric down away from the thread, and then we're going to just shimmy it on down, and then grab it again. We're going to move that fabric away and gather the fabric back down again. I'm just going to do that a whole bunch of times. This thread is kind of sensitive, so be really careful that you don't break it, but it'll go really fast with the double gathering stitch. Okay. And this could be done in just a couple of minutes, and you just gather it and pull it away. Okay, now when you get down a good ways, you want to go ahead and go to the other end. You don't want to scoot the fabric all the way from one end to the next. You want to kind of bring the ends together. So I'm going to go to the opposite end and separate the two sides of the thread just like before. And I'm going to tie one end off, and we're going to scooch that fabric towards the center. I had no idea that this is how gatherers work. I couldn't ever figure out how skirts look how they did. But yeah, this is a simple step. I'm not sure if it'll work with all fabrics, but it definitely works with cotton fabric. All right, so now that it's done, I'm going to put it beside my waistband. I want to make sure that it's gathered enough to where it will fit on the waistband. We don't want any extra hanging out. And so I'm going to tie the ends, cut off the tails. And if you see in the center where my hand is at, it's kind of flat. So we just need to get that scooched all together. Bring the two sides together and just make the pleats look really separated, just like that. And it's pretty strong. Now at this point, people will tell you to do a stitch to lock that in place. I'm not going to do that, but you can if you want to. If you want to make sure it's very, very secure, you can just go back and run a zigzag stitch along the between the two lines that you sewed, and that will lock it in place. So now I'm going to place it about halfway up on this waistband. This is also where you can take measurements and you can get it perfectly precise, but I don't care. So now I'm going to just fold that band on top. Now make sure when you do this step that you are folding the right side of the fabric facing you. That way you can make sure your waistband is extremely straight and neat for the front of your skirt. The inside doesn't really matter on this skirt, whereas on the other skirt, we sewed on the inside. This one we're sewing on the outside. It's going to be a top stitch. You could absolutely iron this to make it look really crisp. I'm just going to pin it in place, and then I'm going to sew it, and that's it. Normally what people would do would be they would sew, before you folded it, they would sew the whole skirt to the back of it and then fold it and then do a top stitch on that part. But I'm just doing it all in one step. And it's very sturdy, guys. You guys see me. I be in the chicken yard. I'm always in the garden. I wear these all day long, so it's pretty sturdy. All right, so we're going to keep on pinning it. Trying to adjust the little pleats and make sure they're not, too bunched up in one area. Let's look and see. Look at the front panel, guys. The first one is done. Look at all of that movement and all that fabric from a bed sheet. Isn't that amazing? Now I'm going to go ahead and sew it in place. All right, so I'm just following as close as I can, just making sure to smooth out the gathers every so often so that they won't get bunched up or be kind of turned to the side or anything. You want to make sure that you get up under the gathering line, if that makes sense. Like you don't want to see those lines that you stitched on the skirt. Okay, and I just go along really slowly. It's like a nice, neat seam. See, it caught it, so now I'm going to smooth it out some more. Just make it look flat, make it lie flat. Look how simple that is, guys. It's so simple. Now at this point, I'm going to go ahead and make the second one. I'm doing the gathers for the second one right now. And I'm just going to complete those steps one more time. So you have to make 2 separate panels, exactly the same. All right, now I found this scrap. I love to make contrasting color ties. Sometimes I make them exactly from the same fabric and sometimes I don't. I had this blue from an apron that I used part of it. And so I'm going to make some blue ties to go with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just use my ruler as the marker. It's going to be just as wide as the ruler. So what is that? An inch or 2? And I'm just going to make 4 ties. This is not the standard way to make ties. They have lots of ways to make them. This is just the way that I do it. It's very simple for me. So I'm going to just make 4 straight lines. Okay, now I'm going to make it another foot long, just to make sure I have plenty of tie. And I'm going to cut it. That's it. I probably could have used the rest of that, the waistband material to make it. I didn't think about that. So now, okay, I'm going to take the 2 ends. I'm going to fold the 2 ends towards each other. And then at this point, they tell you to iron it. Not doing that, okay? So I'm going to fold it into itself, just like that. One, one fold. And I just do the first part to get it started. And then when I get that part done, I stop the machine. Look how neat and close it is. You don't really need to worry about the thread matching unless you want to. It's going to be tucked into your skirt anyway. So now I'm going to just do a little piece and fold it. Yes, it would be so much easier if you went ahead and ironed it. And that way you could just knock them all out at once. But obviously I love chaos. And so this is how I always do it. It goes really fast though. You can make all 4 ties in like 5 minutes. And that's it. Now, at the waistband, when we folded it over, it left a little gap. We're going to tuck in those loose ends so that they're not, fraying and looking all, unneat. That's not a word. Anyway, so I just kind of tucked it in till it looks neat. And then you just take your tie and just kind of stuff it in there a little bit. Look at that, like a little burrito. And you're going to sew that close with a zigzag stitch. Now I do mine is I go down and then I hold the back button and go backward, let it go down again. And that's it. It's locked in place. Look how neat that is. That tie is not going anywhere. So now I have the ties all attached. We're going to put the skirt together. So now we're going to put the right sides together to sew the inside seam to attach both sides. So I'm just going to line it all the way up. Because we're going to start at the bottom. It's very important that you start at the bottom. All right, I'm going to grab the ends and we're going to just do a double stitch, like on the, like before, just a really solid stitch when it makes like the 3 stitches at once. I don't know what it's called. Okay, now, most important, when you get to the end, we need to lock this in place. This is a skirt you're going to step into or pull over your head. So we're going to put down our needle into the fabric. We're going to rotate the fabric sideways, and then we're going to lock this opening in place, because if you don't, it'll come undone. So you're going to go down, hit the back button, go back, let it go forward, hit the back button again, go back, and that's just going to make it extremely tight. And so that way the skirt won't come undone, because there's going to be a gap in the opening I'm going to show you in a second. All right, so right here, that's where we made the line to lock the closing in place. But look, this top is open. And this is going to help you get that really tight fit around your waist, your natural waistline. And so this is how I always do it. I have to lock that in place. Now let's give it a try on, guys. It's done. That's it. You just sew the other side closed the exact same way, turn it inside out, and now you can put it on. Now, okay, just be forewarned that this skirt is going to feel like this is too big. You know, you're going to be like, I don't like this. This is horrible. It's going to be fine. And don't be trying to look at my legs. I saw you. This is that other petticoat that I wear. This is the original one that I wore. Oh, my shirt isn't even tucked in. My Lord. Anyway, it has 3 tiers. I'll leave it linked in the description below. It's about the same price as the other one, but it's not as poofy. Okay, so you're gonna pull it over your head, and it's gonna look. You're gonna feel really weird about it because it's so big. Look how big this is. But I promise, it just, you see, it just kind of falls in the front. But I promise you're gonna love this. So I always tie the back one first to get that tucked into the inside, and then I pull that one up and I tie it. Look, look at that. Not well, not that, but look. Oh, I love this so much. And then that way I don't have to wear a belt and it just fits me perfectly every single time. I love this style of skirt so much. And that is it. Look at that. Look at all that movement from a queen size flat sheet that I paid $1.99 for, guys. This skirt is so cheap. It's perfect for working around the house. And there it is. That is it, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you get to try this skirt. I hope it was clear. If not, please leave me a message down below and I'll be so more than happy to answer any questions you might have. And I'll see you guys on Monday, right? Bye.